This episode of Broken Bones and Bullshit is sponsored by Ozcan Rural and Outback Drovers Co. So welcome on, Mark Austin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So how did the whole rodeo career start for yourself?
Oh, for me, I think I was about 16 and growing up around Knox City, getting in a bit of trouble with the police and that. And a bloke called Jack O'Connell had a riding school up in Scoresby. And so we sort of half sneaking up there, chasing the young girls. And he just come back from Calgary and started putting a bucking string together and doing a bit of, rodeo schools there. And we got stuck in it from there, So test pilots, we used to call ourselves. And you rode bareback, you rode saddle bronc, and you rode bulls, whatever you could get on. And yeah, and then when you wasn't doing that, you was picking up. So,
What was your favourite event out of the three?
I like saddle bronc better.
Yeah.
I always liked getting on bulls. I was never a good bull rider, but I liked getting on bulls. I like saddle bronc. Saddle bronc was real good. That's what I went for for a few years, and then I went picking up. And yeah.
And then you spent most of your years picking up? Or?
Spent most of my years picking up. And then in the later years, we had a bit of a break when I got married and had kids. And then got into the bucking ponies with the younger kids. So. And
your young fella rodeo?
Yeah, young Shane, he started off on the bucking ponies, then went to bareback and bulls. Then he liked bareback better, so he stuck with bareback. And young Brooke, my youngest daughter, she started on the bucking ponies and was done barrel racing as well. But, once they hit 17, they had to quit the bucking ponies. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of people, especially nowadays, don't know about the bucking ponies. How long were you running the bucking ponies for?
Oh, we had the bucking ponies for about 13, 14 years. Started off up at Denny with them. And then any of the other rodeos we could take around. We started with Jack and myself, and we used to take 8 to a rodeo, and got a fair few young kids off going. Young Kelsey Pavlo, he started on the bucking ponies, and Luke Higgins and Jared McLean, all the guys now, like they rode steers and the bucking ponies, and
especially Jared McLean, two-time bareback Australian champion.
Yep. So
and then Kelsey Pavlo's made finals.
Yep.
Luke Higgins, another great Cowboys, made finals every year, done well over in the States.
Yep. I think the thing with the ponies was like the kids, they had the junior steers and that was it. So even Ben Gard used to ride the bucking ponies, and then they had the ponies as well to go on with. Thing is, we only were allowed to have 8 at each rodeo. It wasn't an APRA points event, but they still had their go, and it got them going,
And especially kids' finals and all that, it's good, but it's not what kids' events are for. It's to get them ready to go on with and like become champions either in bucking horses or bull riding or any sort of rodeo sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Finals aren't important. They're not points awarded. It's about getting kids going.
Yep, for sure.
Teaching them the basics and just rodeo. Just going to a rodeo and
enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And like you say, it wasn't a points events and finals, but we had them up Isa. Had ponies up Isa a couple of years. So, they still went to the finals. It just wasn't a APRA event, So, yeah.
And was there a standout bucking pony that was your favourite?
I've got my favourite, Old Southern Comfort, little grey pony. She's a real good pony. Young Bailey Pavlo, she won a few events on her. Everyone sort of, young Shane, he won Mount Isa on her, my young Shane. And kids rode is just a nice, clean jump and kick pony. The more you spurred her, the more she bucked. But you could walk up to her in a paddock, catch her, do her feet, lead her around. Fantastic little pony,
If you had 8 of them, you would have been happy.
Oh, yeah. We had some pretty rank bucking ponies too. Little Kev, no one ever rode him. Susie Q. We had so many Vegemites, little black Vegemite. They just kept changing, but So.
Keep the same name, but a different pony.
It had to be black, but it was Vegemite. So, Babyface. We had some real good, Cinderella, some real good little bucking ponies. So, And the kids, well, I say kids, they're not kids now, but they all remembered their names too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and what were the like contractors you worked in with? Like Gary McPhee was one of them.
We've done Gary's rodeos, we've done Jack's rodeos. When Jack had a couple of rodeos, we've done Happy's rodeos. Most of the contractors. We even had it up at Man from Snowy River Festival as well. You know, like it started getting a bit of a thing because they couldn't get older riders, so the kids wanted them. You know, so yeah.
And is that something you wish you kept going, or logistically it just got too hard?
Yeah, no, COVID stopped it.
Yeah.
COVID stopped it. That sort of slowed it right down. I think there's still an open for buck and ponies. Cheltenham Rodeo's asked us a few times about them, and same with Alexandra Rodeo. And yeah, there's an opening because it helps the young kids come along, you know.
So, do you still have any buck and ponies out
I've
at
still
your
got
age?
a few of my old favourites sitting in the paddock. They're a bit old in the teeth now, but they've had a few foals, and their foals will be, you know, ready to go. I've still got all my gear, all my flanks, and all my bareback riggings and everything else. And
So that's something you look to do in the future, or
if the opportunity come along, I'd do it again. Yeah, yep. So for sure.
and was it tough to get the buck and ponies going, like with all the rules in Victoria with what you
They have
can
to be
and
over 200 kilo.
Yeah.
That was the main rule. And it wasn't like a draw, as you call the draw. Like you knew which ponies were better than other ponies, and you knew which kids were a little bit better than other kids. So you sort of half matched
just matched them up.
matched them up a lot. I mean, like you weren't there to get kids hurt. You were there for the kids to have fun and enjoy themselves and continue on with, you know.
And
You get kids hurt, they're not going to come back.
yeah, and it's the same with even the second div. Like at my show, you shoot draw them, but if there's an opportunity to switch them just to suit them better match, like a fella just coming, I've got a few novice bulls that are just not good enough to be open bulls.
Yeah.
There's no point putting a fella that's never been on a bull or been on 5 bulls on a bull that's gonna really buck and turn back. Like you're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
So if we can, we sort of switched them up and just to make it fair, and we don't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
It's only a novice bull ride.
Yeah.
Like you want to make sure everyone gets a good feeling, and then you put them on the softer one. If they ride them, then great.
Yeah.
Like they love it. They get that good feeling, and then they come back the next weekend.
Yeah, well, that's the same with us. So, you know, yeah.
And then the better fellas, they can ride them ones you're putting them on. So then obviously they're going to ride for a lot more points, and they're going to win the rodeo anyway. Yeah. So you're not trying to cheat or favour. You're just trying to look after everyone because
exactly.
Everyone's at different levels, and novice and like the obviously kids buck and ponies, they're just a stepping stone. So they're not for an Australian title. They're not for anything like that. So it's to look after everyone and keep building everyone up.
Yep.
That's what they're designed for.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah, and the crowd loved it as well.
Yeah.
The crowd loved the kids coming out on the buck and ponies, and some of the names of the buck and ponies. You know, the crowd just loved it. You know, so yeah.
I always thought when I started breeding bulls, like, oh, I could name bulls better, but it gets tough. I can't even think of it now.
Yeah, like I say, Little Southern Comfort. She was named after one of Jack's big saddle bronc horses, Southern Comfort. It was a big old grey cart horse. She used to pull a cart across the Sydney Harbour Bridge until she started to buck. And so this one, it's a little model, a little sister, tiny little buck and pony, but looked exactly like a big clumper. So, yeah.
So, in the rodeo world, what's your biggest wreck you've had?
My biggest wreck was back in the 80s. I was a pickup man with Jason Downs and Keith Downs at Werribee Rodeo. And they didn't have a comedy clown, so I was going to be the comedy clown as well. So I'm jumping off me pickup horse and in me tights and everything else. And an old bull Jack had called Jim Bean, big old Brahman cross Murray Grey, come out. And the young fella got hung up on him, and I had me broom, and we used to knock this bull around a bit, and I rang out and he had racks on him about 2 foot each side. And he's just gone whack, copped me through my mouth and through my leg.
Oh, wow.
I've got it on an old DVD, actually. It was an old video, and it cleaned up 7 of us. And in the end, you see a bloke come running out, saddle bronc rider with his chaps on called Dallas Powell. And all Dallas does in the air, somersault in mid-air, you know. And the bloke who was riding just let go and walked off, you know. But the old bull cleaned up 7 of us. So, yeah. They put me in hospital for a month, and skin grafts and bone grafts, and knocked my teeth out. So, yeah.
And not just rodeo, you've had a pretty good career just animal involved? I know you've done a lot of movie stuff, and
Yeah, I train a lot of animals for film and television work. Um, I got into a little bit of stunt work through Lance Anderson, another old cowboy, and yeah, I've been in a few horse movies and Ned Kelly and a few horses movies like that. And, yeah,
and you've trained pretty much everything apart from
I've
apart
trained
from a dog.
yeah, I can't train a dog. Can't train a dog to sit, but I've had everything from caterpillars to camels. And I've still got them. I've had scorpions on Tones and I film clips. I've had chooks on TV shows, Neighbours, and I had a snake on Thank God You're Here the other month. And
Tell us about I was speaking to you a few months ago about when you're training the chook.
yeah, the chook. They've got a crop on them, and like if you can imagine, a lot of it's food orientated with training, and you're trying to train a chook to do something. And so that you can only have a little tiny bit of feed because once it's full, it just says, "Oh, I'm just going to have a sleep." They don't want to work, and so yeah. So same with an emu. Like the emu's got about as much brain as a chook. But yeah,
So they're pretty hard to train due to you only got a small window.
you've only got a small window of your training, and then you just give up and then come back tomorrow because and make sure you don't feed it overnight because otherwise it won't do nothing tomorrow.
And what's some of the things you taught an emu and a chook to do?
Oh, I had a chook on Neighbours and another series there, and had to sit on a bed, and the woman had to catch it and pat it, and had to lay an egg. Well, of course we fiddled the egg, but the chook had to come up and jump on the bed while they're having sex and peck at the old fella, And then we had I had to walk around on a lead through the main city, through the city, and yeah, so some pretty mad stuff for the chooks. But then we had the emu on that compare the market with the meerkats, and it had to chase the meerkats. Well, yeah, so do that. And
Have you ever owned any meerkats yourself?
no.
No.
I've had just about everything else. I had a zoo license for a while. I've had monkeys. I had monkeys on the Logies with Steve Irwin one year, and
Yeah, wow.
Dirty Laundry on the ABC. But I had monkeys. I had a lion cub for a little while. But yeah.
So one weekend you're getting hooked from a board of rodeo, and the next weekend you're walking a monkey out to the Logies.
Yep. So, I got to sit on some pretty, decent tables and a tuxedo and get fed all right. So we should get fed on the film sets, but yeah.
And at the moment, what's your involvement with rodeo? You've got a few people.
We've got, look, I've got my old arena set up at home, portable arena. I bought half an arena of Woodalls off of me a few years ago, and I've got a couple of shoots and a few bulls, and we've got a few young kids come out and get on them now and then, and we've got a young girl, Alison Clark. She's real keen. She come out and got on a couple and done Whittlesea Rodeo and got second in the lady steer ride. I'm hoping to qualify to go to the States, to Las Vegas in December in the over 55s bull ride, and Alison wants to come across and goes in the ladies bull ride over there. So that's something we're working on at the moment, is getting that done. And we've got other couple of young kids, Jaden and all them, come out and get on a few in the potty calves. And like I say, it goes back to the ponies. We're not there to get them hurt. You want them to cover everything. Because once they get hurt, they start...
Get sour on it.
They get a bit sour on it. Once they cover a fair few, well, so they're getting keener and keener.
So is the seniors bull riding, over 40s, over 50s, is that becoming a thing in Victoria now, or is that something you and Lance are working on?
Lance is really working on it. There's a few of the old legend riders. It's getting pretty big in Queensland, I think. It's real big in the States. They do all events in the States, bulls, bareback and saddle bronc. I'm looking to do the 3 events when I go over. Not to be a hero, but the stock's not hard. It's going back to the kid stage. Well, not so much the kid stage, but it's going back. They're softer. The bulls suit.
And it's 6 seconds, isn't it?
It's 6 seconds. It's not 8 seconds. But yeah, the stock's there to suit the rider, not to suit, not to get everyone hurt. So.
Well, you're in your 50s.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't heal as quick as we used to. So, and I don't run as fast as I used to. So.
Well, I know starting late how much harder it was for me. Just the injuries once, and I'm only in my 30s.
Yep.
But I don't bounce the way that I did when I was
Yeah.
15.
Yep. Yep. So,
So
sure,
like,
sure.
and you're there for the camaraderie and just to be involved.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of getting on these things that stand on their nose and lick their ass?
Exactly.
Like, you're in your 50s, you're there to have a bit of fun,
fun.
ride a couple of old bulls, and
Yeah. I mean, you go to a few rodeos and like the kids sort of look at you and say, "Who's this old bastard?" But they forget what you've got on.
Mm.
And how many you've got on over
Yeah.
the years. And as you know, I've been across with you and got a couple over here. Nothing rank,
yeah.
nothing rank, but it's done my job and it suited me. And
Mm.
I've rode them.
Yeah.
So
Old Smoking Joe.
yeah,
You got on him and rode him like
and,
eating a sandwich.
But I've got a couple at home. I've bought off Brighton. Brighton.
Brighton accents.
I bought a couple off him, and we're going to buck them out. And so everyone says, "Oh, they're no good. They stop halfway through it, or there's all stop." That's all you want.
Yeah.
That's all you want, and that's all you want for the kids to get on as well. You don't want them to get hurt. So, and I don't want to get hurt. So yeah.
Yeah, like it's the same with here. Like, I've got bulls for a purpose.
Yep.
Like, all the bulls I have are the old open bulls or bulls that just weren't good enough, but perfect practice bulls. They're all quiet, and they're all like pretty much everything I got now. They're all turned back, but they're just steady.
Yeah.
Like, if it's at a rodeo scene, they'll ride them for 75 points.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's a practice pen.
Exactly.
Slow it all down. Even then, better riders can take a step back, get on it, slow everything down, get it perfect. If you drop your hand too low or did something, then get on him again.
Yeah.
Get everything perfect, and they're slow enough and steady enough you can, and then they're perfect for fellas learning because there's still a buck and bull. Everything's just a little higher and a little sped up.
Yep.
Like when you get into open bulls. And
well, you get on a push bike or BMX, you don't go out and do backflips straight away. You
Yeah.
go out and you do your little jumps and everything else, and then you build yourself up to it. I find that's the same with rodeo.
yeah.
I can remember when I started off saddle bronc riding, we had an old, actually it was my dad's horse. I bought it from my dad, and I used to open the chute. I made a chute, had a flank strap on it, and used to. I'm glad Dad's not alive no more, but I'd get out. I can hear a phone ringing. Is that me? That is me. Sorry. I'd come out and I'd be pulling the flank strap. I'm bucking it, and then when I've had enough, I'd take the flank off it, and it was only like a lasso, but you built yourself up to it, and yeah.
Because I think that's the trouble now. It's like rodeo's becoming very popular, which is great, and we love it. But it's also everybody I know in the buck and bulls, I can only speak because that's what's foreign to me. That's what I know is everyone wants to breed the best buck and bull, but you need to have them fellas getting on them.
Yes.
So, like, there needs to be that stepping stone of these fellas like myself and you, and I know Woodles are doing massive things, and a lot of other guys in Australia are, to get them going. Yep. You got to get these kids going. Like, it's all good and well to have 20 of the best buck and bulls in Australia sitting in your paddock, but if you got no one to get on them,
exactly.
What's the point of having them?
Yeah. I mean, you go to a rodeo and like the crowd just sit there and they say, "Oh, another one got bucked off. Another one got bucked off. Another one got bucked off."
They get stare on it.
Yeah, and like the bull can come out and do bugger all, and the bloke rides it, and they're all roaring and clapping, and best ride out for the night. But it might not been the best bull, but he's covered it, and So.
Well, a lot of the public that are coming, they can't see the difference between 70 points and 85.
No.
Like, if they see someone ride them and the bull's only crow hopping across the arena, but he's got a big set of racks and looks like a big scary buck and bull, that's what they're there for. Yeah. They get all excited and wound up, and it doesn't have to be the best. Obviously, we have finals and different big events that we expect the best, and we've also got the best riders there. But novice events and junior events, it's there to get rides and build it up. And that's what I was so stoked. Like me, Bryden and Gary McPhee worked in on the Victorian bull riding titles.
Yes, yep.
And in the juniors, we had a junior section of 4 bull riders, and we had 4 scores.
Yep.
And I was stoked. Like, that's what it was. Like, that's juniors is for me.
Yes.
Like, get them going, like, and then
sure.
they all get a little bit of money and just enough to keep them
For
going
sure,
because no junior rider's going to retire off prize money.
No. No, for sure. I don't think any bull rider in Australia is going to retire on prize money, are they?
But credit to the PBR and every other committee in Australia, the money is getting good. Like the people are chipping in, like you're seeing, like not long ago, Dan Oliver was on and we spoke about the money in bronc riding now, like $15,000 bronc rides with extreme bulls. And like at my bull ride, we have $10,000 up. Macaulay Leather last year in the PBR won 177,000 just in the PBR riding bulls in Australia, and that's incredible. Like that's a lot of moving parts and a lot of great sponsors and people helping it to make it that sort of money. Like that's.
I was going through a few old rodeo magazines the other month, and you look at the prize money back in the 80s and 90s. $400 or $500, it's still almost the same now. You know,
yeah,
like,
some of them are.
you know, like
there's
a
a
lot
few
cheaper to enter.
Yeah, there's a few committees that need to pull their socks up and try to do it because also like COVID was horrible for a lot of people, and I know myself it was really hard. And then, but coming from that is probably the best thing that happened because people got out and they got about. Like since that, every rodeo I know around in Victoria broken attendance records every year. So if you're breaking attendance records, you get an extra 1,000 people. You need to put the money back into the prize money. You need to look after us guys because back in the 80s, it wasn't $2.20 for a litre of diesel.
Yes,
and that's what it is now. And it's like we need a bit more money to keep going and help us along because.
But going back in the 80s, like they used to get a fair few people, crowd at rodeos too. Knox City Rodeo used to be massive. Ace High Ride and Ranch Rodeo used to be massive. Currumborough, like we had a rodeo nearly every weekend, or two on the weekend. And the crowds used to get there. And the crowds used to get right behind it, and...
Are you old enough for the old tent rodeos, or you're not that old?
No, I'm not that old. I'm not that
not
old.
as old as you look.
No, not as old as I look. I've had a bit of a hard life, Sunscreen didn't work on me, but yeah.
What's your favourite rodeo?
Phillip Island Rodeo, Cows Rodeo. We used to do a parade through Knox City with horses and the barrel races and the bull riders and back of the ute. You used to all sit in the back of the ute and do the parade in the morning before the rodeo. And it was just the street and the public used to get behind you, and that was... Now you go to rodeo, you line up, get in there, watch the event and go home. And they had bands afterwards and, it was just a real great thing, and
And that's like, that's what I feel like Europe is. I've done a lot of rodeoing over in Europe. And because it's like the sport's been there a little bit, but it's not big, it's starting to become popular. But they just get into it so much that it's like everything's so exciting. Like before some of the rodeos, all the bull riders have to get in the back of a truck and they go down the main street and people line up. It's exciting to see like a cowboy, you got your chaps on and it's really exciting for them. And now it's good that we have so many rodeos, but it's a lot of people take it for granted too. It's just, it's just another thing that they're not as excited as what they sort of used to be, probably back when.
Yeah, I mean, like you get the likes of then Cowes, Phillip Island, and it's a holiday place where they see the penguins, but you'll see a load of cowboys coming down, and someone would lead a quiet bull, and all the cowgirls with their chaps, and like going back in the 80s and that, it was that you used to get dressed up, right? I mean, you never saw barrel races without chaps and their white shirt, matching hat, and their horse all looking the same, pretty as picture, and carrying the Australian flag and the American flag and the O'Connell Rodeo promotion flag, and it was good. It was a parade, an actual parade before the rodeo, So yeah.
And that's what I think it's good. Like a lot of people get upset that we have the dress code in the APRA and you have to wear your boots and your jeans, but I think it's good because the public are going there to see cowboys. And like a practice day at my house, everyone's just in a baseball cap or whatever, and we're all just getting on bulls and bucking them what we normally. But come Saturday, this is
Yep.
You want to present yourself
Yes,
nice,
exactly.
and people are there to see cowboys.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah, well, that was about it too. You know, like
Yeah.
they used to get dressed up and
Mm.
used to look neat and tidy as a cowboy, you know, and you were proud to be a cowboy.
Mm.
You know, yeah, you were proud. You wore your cowboy hat, you wore your shirt, you wore your Wrangler jeans, you know, and your boots. But you know, some of the radios you see these days, the guys turn up in their board shorts and singlets on, and you know, you don't know who they are until they get on. But
How do you feel rodeo's going? Are you happy with the way it's going at the moment?
oh, I'll say if I'm happy, I enjoy going to rodeo still.
Mm.
It would be better if you saw more riders and
Mm.
people coming along, but
Yeah.
it's just the sport at the moment.
Mm.
Like you say, it's building up. So
Mm.
yeah,
And that's probably just need to get more avenues so people can start. Because
yeah, yeah,
I get the amount of messages I get on the Bennett Ranch page, people wanting to start, and it's I do get a lot of people started, but it's just hard because there's just a lot of if 20 blokes rock up, there's only one that's serious,
yes,
and like I try my best to accommodate and get people started, but with the insurance and all the other stuff,
that's what people
it
don't
is
realise.
yeah.
You don't just knock up to Bennett Ranch and get on a
Mm.
bull or a steer and get on. You've got to have your safety gear. You've got to have your insurance. You've
Mm.
got to have your clowns. Then they don't realise what that stock's cost you
Yeah.
and to feed it.
Mm.
You know, like you know,
Yeah, and it just goes on and on.
yeah,
And with but then I want to do it because I want it to keep going.
Yeah.
And I know like out of the 20 people that have rocked up, only one's gone rodeoing, but they've done well and they're a part of it now.
Yep.
And I get a good feeling from that I'm able to get people started. But like that's why Woodles and fellas like that are so great because every weekend they've got practice on and the amount of like you look at any rodeos down the Woodles area, down Warrnambool and Dartmoor, there's 50 novice bull riders.
yes, yeah,
And that's not by accident.
no,
That's
Yep.
that's them having the avenue for every young fella that wants to get started. They got somewhere to go.
yes,
And
yeah.
and they're consistent. Every week they're bucking bulls.
And I think you'll find, Ronnie, and that it would be the same as me. You go to a rodeo and you see the likes of the kids that are winning that. Well, I say kids, they're adults now, who are winning. And you say, they started off on my ponies.
Yeah.
And I know Ronnie would probably say, I had him on potty cars, but,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you get a good feeling
Yeah,
from.
yeah. So,
We'll have a little breather and
yeah, no props.
then we'll get back in it.
No worries.
Ozcan Rural, providing Southwest Victoria with everything related custom sheep and cattle yards. Get in touch with the fellas via email ozcanrural@gmail.com. That's AUS, can like the one you drink, rural@gmail.com. Building fences straighter than your local politician. Outback Drover Co. Australian stockman wear. I've got one of their work shirts on right now and I love it. Go check out their new range of work and casual wear at outbackdroverco.com. Embrace the outback, wear the drover.
Right,
So
Jack.
welcome back, Mark.
Thank you.
So what's the best bull or bronc ride you've seen in person?
Been a lot of good bull rides, a lot of good saddle bronc rides, and some nice bareback rides. Going back to the 80s, it used to be nice to watch Ray Herman. There was a young fella used to get a ride called Rick Galloway. Real pretty saddle bronc rider. Pain to pick up because you go to get him and you set him up and you step off in front of you. Every time you set him up, he'd step off in front of you and land on his feet and just look at you, so, you know. Old Les Bell, he was a good bareback rider. He was pretty to watch. And that was back in the day when the riggins weren't high-rise riggins and everything else. They were flat riggins. And, yeah, but Herms won, 7 Australian titles, saddle bronc riding titles. So,
Wow.
you know, he was real pretty to watch. But I reckon the real prettiest person would have been young Rick Galloway. Only a real small fella, but real pretty to watch. Yeah, so
Because normally, isn't it with the bareback, it's always better if the fella's a little bit taller? I know a lot of old cowboys reckon that
Yeah.
they look a bit better if they're
Well, they're a bit
got
longer.
longer
The
legs.
longer the
yeah,
legs and
can
grab
really
and pull them
grab
out.
'em.
But I remember Hermes. Hermes used to have white boots, and that's when I bought young Shane a pair of white boots because you used to be able to see his feet burn this horse, and he'd lick him, and really lick him. But yeah,
And what was some of the standout stock back when you were rodeoing?
Eight's Enough. That was a good little bull of Jack's. Gary has some pretty good bulls, Chainsaw.
Yeah, that would have been your
He
era.
was good. But they all had some real good bulls back in those days, I can't remember a lot of the bulls' names, but as a pickup man, you used to pick up the horses and then work the bulls as well, So, but you're out there the whole rodeo. But I remember one bull that Gary had. His name Pretty Boy, big red bull, and he had massive big racks. But I don't think he used to buck that good, but he could use those racks when he got off. But
Make a show out of the
yeah.
racks.
And a big bull, Highland cow, a bull they had over in Tassie called the Yak, and it never used to buck hardly, but being big horns and big hairy thing, the announcer used to, the yak, and all the crowd used to just start yelling out, yak, and just build it up so much it'd come around half canter around the arena. But it was good. It was good to watch.
The build-up was better than the bucking.
Yeah, for sure, But there's some good horses. Circus Boy and a Kubra Gold was one of Happy's horses. So.
And I know you talked down your career a lot, but what was the best bucking horse or that you rode?
A horse called War Paint, one of Gary's horses. It was an old horse then, and that was up at the old Denny Rodeo. And I reckon it's the best ride I ever done. I've still got an old video of it and photos of me, on it. And I've never forgiven old George Fruin because he missed me mark out. He said,
and you're there, you reckon?
And I was there. I've got photos to prove I was there, but George got me for no mark out on one side. And so
he took that moment away from you.
He took that moment away, but it was the best ride I ever done on old War Paint. And it was real good. But good old horse too by that age. And he just jump and kick and made it look pretty, So,
And what advice would you give to a young fella wanting to get involved in either rodeo or just dealing with animals? I know you've had
get out there, come to your place, get out and talk to people, talk to the older blokes, and don't go out there and want to win straight away. Get on a second division bull and think you're going to win the world. Get out there and get on potty calves, get on a cow, I can remember we used to sneak up the abattoirs up in Ferntree Gully and get a hay band and round their gut and buck them out there, And I know what the butchers used to think the next morning, but get out there. You don't have to get on a bull. Get on a cow. Get on a steer. Get your balance. Get your legs working. Get your body working, and build yourself up to it.
And that's what I found was hard, because I started, I didn't get on my first bull till I was 27 or 28. And because I was older, everybody would look at you and they think you've been rodeoing for 10, 15 years. Yeah. And because I'd never done it, and I had to start on big bulls, and that's what I started on. Yep. And then I felt like it was a backward step if I'd got on a steer.
Yep.
But that's where my ability was.
Yeah.
So I really should have just got on steers and started back at the basics. My age is irrelevant because of my ability.
Yep.
So I really needed anyone, especially if I met someone my age that was starting, I start them on steers.
Yep.
Just who cares?
Get your balance.
This is not for Instagram or Facebook.
Yep.
This is to have a career.
Yes.
Because I just started on bulls and I've been hurt more than anyone I've met. And all that because I just started on big bulls as an older fella. And just we don't bounce like we used to.
No.
And as any advice I could give to someone is you're not too good. If don't get your ambitions and your capabilities mixed up. And I did have that when I was like, no, I only get on bulls because I'm this age and
Yep.
all that. Like, I should have just been getting on steers. I should have spent 6 months, 12 months getting on steers, learning how to ride instead of just getting on and getting hurt and then coming back.
Oh, I've got a
and-
bit more age than you, and I've still got a few steers here. You know,
Yeah.
like it's still getting your balance. It's still getting your legs moving, and gives you a bit more confidence. And
Yeah.
you know,
And that's what I found the hardest because, like, when I started late, it was I fought my head a lot.
Yep.
Because I was older and everybody, like, would look at you, and generally someone that's 28 or 29 years old has already had a good career
Yeah.
or been riding for a long time.
Yep.
I fought my head a lot. I thought, like, I'd think people were thinking something of me when it was all made up.
yes, yep,
So it's like, if I could give advice to anyone now, it's like, it doesn't matter what age or what stage you're at. Just do your best.
Yeah.
And like, it's not against how good someone else is doing. It's just, if I couldn't ride that bull last week and I did this week, that's an awesome step forward.
I also think you've got to be positive in your mind as well as be pretty fit.
Mm.
You know, it's no point sitting at home on a couch all week and going and riding bulls on a weekend. Get out there, run, do a bit of weights, like I say, I'm 55 and I still get out there. I still ride a push bike 8Ks every night and still play in my gym every night. You know, and you don't have to be muscle man, but you've got to be fit, and you've got to be mentally fit as well. You know, so.
And what helped you with your mental toughness?
Don't let anyone put you down.
Yeah.
You know, there's an old saying, don't like me, fuck off, problem solved. Sort yourself out, you know.
I don't know if that's an old saying.
Well, you know.
Your old saying.
Yeah, you know, like, sort your own brain out. Don't worry what everyone else saying in the background.
Mm.
You know, oh, like, he's too old to do this, he's too old to do that. Think your own brain, you know. Yeah, just work yourself out and go from there, you know.
Yeah, that's... You're your own worst enemy if you let it.
Yep, for sure.
Because I know in myself, like, it only takes 2 bull rides to change everyone's opinion.
Yep.
So, like, if you think you're not this and not that, and you'll stay there. But if you change your mind, go out, crack out 2 good bull rides, 2 good bronc rides, all of a sudden everyone's changed their opinion.
Yes, for sure.
He's not too old anymore. He's not.
Yep.
All that's irrelevant now, and it's you can change your own narrative if you want to.
Yep.
Like, and especially now, I think it's horrible the way that everything's going, where everyone's a victim. That's a lot of shit.
Yeah, for sure. You're your own victim.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like, you're the one in charge of whether you're gonna take it by the balls and change it, or lay down and let life piss on you.
For sure. You know, and like you say, you've got to be mentally strong as well as physically. You know, so yeah. I mean, I've seen a few blokes at different rodeos, and very bigger blokes, and I say to young Al and that when she's with us, I push her to be fit. You know, and she works horses every day and everything else. And I say, look, that bloke won't jump shoot $2. And sure enough, they open the gate and $1 and the next buck they're on the ground. So the first buck wasn't even a buck; they're just getting their seat, you know. So then they're off, you know. And the other thing is, you look at your bull or you look at your horse, and like even Dino would tell you, you're looking for 20 years. If you're looking down there, that's where you're going to end up. You know, and that's what a lot of these young fellas don't know. I still get on a buck and drop drum every night. You know. No rope, but just get on the drop drum and just get your body moving. Yeah, just get your feel going, you know. So every night, even if I'm not riding, I just get on it, and I still ride horses 3 times, 4 times a week, you know. And
there's a bit off topic, but you know William Junior Dugan, like me fella from Belgium. Did you ever meet him?
No, I never met him. No.
Well, he was over here, and I wanted to do something Australian, so we went to like a urban surfers called. It's like a man-made waves.
Yes, yep.
And all the beginner class, we've never surfed, neither of us. All the beginner classes were taken up. So we went to intermediate turns. These waves are like 1.5 to 2 meters high. They're fucking massive.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we're doing. Just swim out there, and we just got smashed like four waves in a row. And then the instructor swam out, and he goes, "When you're going to stand up, look at the top of the roof.
Yep.
Like look up, because it's the same as bull riding. If you're looking down at the bottom of the wave or looking at the board, that's where you're going."
Yep.
And it was crazy, like totally different sports and nothing to do with each other, but
Yep.
that's a good piece of advice. Like you're going where you're looking.
Yep, for
So
sure.
if you look out at the ground when you're on a horse or a bull, that's where you're going. If you stay where you need to be or look up like you need to be on a board,
Yep.
then
Exactly. Yeah. It's true. You know, your body's following your eyes, and that's where you're going to end up. So.
What's one of the best experience with doing your movie stuff that you've had, like with the Logies or
Yeah, look, it's all fun.
yeah.
It's all fun. Like I love doing Ned Kelly. That was fantastic. But for the first week, you're there every night in costume, sitting there freezing cold, and don't even get called on set. And like they like filming at night because it's dark and they can control the light and everything else. So you're there, from 6 o'clock until 6 o'clock the next morning, freezing your butt off. It's all good. It's all good fun.
Yeah.
And the people you meet there are just fantastic. So, I've met some pretty good actors and big actors, and
What's some of the names and the actors that you've met or had dealings with?
Oh, Steve Irwin. He's not an actor, but I was on the Lakers with him. The whole class of Neighbours, Kylie Minogue, John Voight, John Howard from All Saints. I was on the Lakers with him. Mary Steinberg. What's the big fella's name that played Fred Flintstone?
Don't know.
Well, Dirty Deeds he was in anyway, and so met a few of them, but they're all good. They're all good guys.
Met a lot of fellas for just a fella from Nagambie.
Yeah, for sure. And like people, you talk to people and they say, "Oh, yeah, I know him. I've met him." Tones and I done her concert, her thing with the Scorpions and that, and it was all good.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Mark Austin, and thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. Good fun. See you.
And anyone else that wants to see more of this, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and Broken Bones and Bullshit. Cheers.